Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have these beautiful, elegant, and chic Dollar Tree crafts to share with you guys. These have to be some of my favorites so far. I love how elegant they are, and they just remind me of a winter wonderland because of all the white and the black and the berries, and I just think that they are so pretty. Plus, I have a few free printables to share with you guys today, which I am super excited about. But before we get started, if you guys are not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button down below and give this video a big thumbs up and make sure to hit that notification bell. First up is this holiday baking company sign. So for this, I'm going to be starting off with this sign that I got at the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to be flipping it over, and we're going to be painting on this side today. So I'm just removing that tag. We're not going to need that one, and I'm going to be coating my entire board in one coat of a thick white chalk paint. Once your board is completely covered and dried, you're going to be needing this free printable, and for this you can just head on over right to my blog. I will leave it linked down below, and you'll see here on this post, once you scroll past those images, you're going to see two links here, so just pick which one you're looking for. So for this one we're going to pick the holiday baking company sign, and you can just print it out right there, totally free, and you don't have to sign up for anything. And I will just mention though that this is printed on legal size paper, since that is the size of this sign. If you do not have legal paper, you can have it printed at a Staples or a local print shop for under $1. To attach my paper, I'll just be using this matte Mod Podge that I got at the Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to be coating my board in one coat of this, and then I'm going to be laying my paper on top of it very carefully to make sure I make it as smooth as possible. Once that was all smooth, I put another coat of that matte Mod Podge on top just to make sure that that paper was sealed down properly. And for this, I'm just using a foam brush that I also picked up at the Dollar Tree. And you'll see also that I like to use my hands to try and get some of those wrinkles out. When this was all dry, there were a few wrinkles in it, but I didn't mind. I feel like it adds to the sign and it kind of makes it look more homemade. Now after letting that Mod Podge dry, I'm going to be taking off that extra paper. So the best way to do this is to let it completely dry and then take a sandpaper block and just slowly brush over those edges with it, and it will peel the paper off and give you a super crisp line. I've done it before where I've cut it with a craft knife, and this method just seems to work a lot better and get a much better result. Once all that extra paper was off, I just took a pencil and pushed it right through that hole so we could put some ribbon through it. And this ribbon I'm using today is from Amazon.com. I will leave it linked down below. It is such a beautiful black velvet ribbon, and I'll be using it in almost every craft today. But do not worry if you do not want to purchase this ribbon. Dollar Tree has a lot of beautiful black ribbon that will work just as well for all of these crafts. So here I'm just cutting a small piece and just putting it through that little hole, and I'm going to be making a knot for our string at the top. And then I'm just going to be cutting those tips off on a nice diagonal. I will also be cutting a nice long piece for the opposite end of this sign. So you'll see here I'm just going to be wrapping it around and making a bow and kind of just situating that bow towards the top of the tag sign. And here is the finished result. I really love this one. I've seen a couple signs really similar to this, but they were way more expensive. So I'm super happy I was able to create one for just a couple dollars. And next up is this black and white tree garland. I'll be using this pack of wood ornaments that I got at the Dollar Tree. So 5 trees come in one pack, and I'm going to start off by laying all of them out, and then I'm going to be painting them in that same white chalk paint. After painting all of my trees, I let them dry, and now I'm just going to be stringing them with this string that comes in that pack from the Dollar Tree. So I'm just going to be looping them all through and making a little knot up top, and then afterwards I'm just going to be trimming that excess string. Now to create the banner, I'll be using this twine that I got at the Dollar Tree. So just cut a piece of the twine however long you want your garland to be. So I want mine to be pretty long, and now I'm just going to be stringing all of my trees onto it, and then I'm going to go back in with that same ribbon as before. But like I said, if you don't want to get this one, you can just pick up some black ribbon at the Dollar Tree or any color that you like. They have a lot of beautiful Christmas ones this year. And I'm just going to be tying it in a loose bow. So the point of that is I want to be able to maneuver the bow on the string once it's on there, because when I hang up my garland, I usually have to situate it. So if it's nice and loose like this, you'll be able to move it around very easily. I'll just be putting a bow in between each one of the trees. And here it is all done. I think it is so pretty, and it goes perfectly with that Holiday Baking Company sign. Now I'll be making this snow-covered vase. So for this, just pick up one of the vases from the Dollar Tree. You can pick the smaller one or the bigger one, and some white spray paint. I'll be using some matte white spray paint. So to do this, it's very easy. You just have to coat the bottom of the vase in one thick coat of that white spray paint, and then I'm just going to sporadically be spraying the top portion kind of far away just to give it a very loose snow-covered look. And you don't want to cover the top part, just that bottom part, and it's easier to see when it's all done. So here you can see how the bottom looks like it is totally covered in snow, and then going up towards the top it looks as if it's still snowing. And I think that this is just such an easy way to achieve that really beautiful snow-covered look. And I'm going to be using that same black ribbon just to keep it in theme, but honestly this vase does not need this ribbon at all. I think it is beautiful just as it is, but I wanted everything to kind of match here, so I'm just adding a small black ribbon to the top. And to style it, you could use flowers for this, or I just used some dried twigs that I already had on hand, and I sprayed those twigs with some white spray paint too, so they kind of looked like they had snow on them as well. Next up is this hand-painted Joy wreath sign. I'm starting with this sign that I got at the Dollar Tree, and the first thing I'm actually going to do is remove this Jingle All the Way sign because I want to save that for a future craft. But I'm actually just going to be painting on the back today, so I have to remove that sticker, so I'm just using this little knife here, and then once it was all off, I just used a sanding block to get off that extra glue. So now I'm just taking off that string at the top because I'm not going to be using this to hang. I'll show you later what I end up doing with that. And now I'm just going to be coating it in some white chalk paint. Here is my board all painted and dry, and the next thing I'm going to be doing is cutting out this J and Y. So you can actually find these on my blog. Again, I will leave that link down below. This is the other free printable that I have for you guys today. So I'm just carefully cutting it out as close as I can, and once I cut it out, I'm going to be gluing it just with a glue stick onto the board. So do this pretty carefully, and you'll see here I'm just lining it up, and you can use a ruler if you want to make sure it is very straight. But I just eyeballed it, and next I'll be going in with these 3 paints. For a guide, I'll just be using this ribbon that is actually from the Dollar Tree just to trace out a circle so I have a light outline that I can paint over. For the wreath, I will be starting with the berries, so this is so easy. Just pick up a Q-tip and dip it in some red paint, and you're just going to be making a small grouping of 4 berries. So just 4 dots, just like this, and I'm going to be going around my wreath, leaving some gaps in between. Next, I'll be going in with some holly leaves. So for this, I just took some light green paint and a small paintbrush, and I'm just making a very simple shape of a leaf here. Just 2 strokes, just kind of curving them around and bringing them together again, and just doing that all the way around my wreath. Now for that bottom garland, I'm just going to be roughly tracing out a nice little curved line, and then I'm going to be repeating those same exact steps all over again. Now the final step is to just add some dark green sprigs. So for this, I just took that dark green color and I'm just making 3 lines that are attached at the base and just kind of spreading them out wherever I thought the garland was a little sparse and just needed a bit of extra color. When my painting was all dry, I sealed it in with some Mod Podge, so just be super careful when you are going over the J and the Y since it's just delicate paper and you don't want it to rip at all, and just cover the entire painting in 1 coat of that Mod Podge. And I just used my fingers here to make sure that that paper was laid down correctly without any wrinkles. Now for the final step, I will just be cutting 2 pieces of that ribbon that are the same length, and then I will be trimming the edges of those ribbon to a point. Now I will just be stringing that ribbon through those 2 openings at the top there, and then I will just be knotting them in the back, and once they have a knot in the back that secures them, I'm just going to be tying those 2 pieces into a very nice bow in the front. I think this little joy sign is just precious, and I promise you, your friends and family will be so impressed with your painting skills, but only you will know how simple it really was. And the last DIY I have today is this piece on earth framed print. So for this, I will be using this calendar that is from the Dollar Tree. We are going to just be using that print today, and this black foam board that I also got at the Dollar Tree. So first, I will just be going in and finding that piece on earth print, and I will just be cutting it out with my craft knife. Now I am just cutting that top portion of the calendar sign to cut off that little hole there, and then I will also be trimming the bottom of this print as well. To give that print some stability, I'm going to be hot gluing it to my foam board. So to do this, I just put some hot glue in the 4 corners, and then I lined it up to the corner of my foam board, and I'm just going to be pressing it down to secure it. Now I'm just trimming off the extra foam board, and here is my print all attached to that foam board. And now to make a frame, I will just be using these wood shims that I already had on hand. So these actually are a different thickness throughout, so I will be gluing 2 together so that they are the same thickness the whole way through. But if you don't have these wood shims or you don't want to do this, you could actually use some of the wood rulers from the Dollar Tree, or just some extra scrap wood if you have any on hand, or there is a bunch that you can choose from at Home Depot. Once I had the 4 sides for my frame, I just had to measure them out. So for this, I just lined up the bottom piece first and measured where I had to cut, and then I marked off my second piece at that same length for the top part. And then you'll see next, I just measured out where the board went on the side piece, and then I did the same for that one. Just marked it off on a second piece, and then I just cut them with a circular saw. So here they are all trimmed up, and I am just making sure that they all fit perfectly. And next, I'm going to be spray painting all of them black. So here they are all painted, and now to attach them to my board, I'm just going to be using some hot glue. So you will see here, I just put some hot glue across the whole bottom of my foam board, and I'm just going to be securing that bottom piece first. Then I just worked my way around the board, securing all 4 sides with some more hot glue. And here is the finished framed piece on earth sign, and I think that this is so pretty with that vase with the snow covered, since the back of the sign kind of has that white birch look to it. So I thought that those 2 just went perfectly together. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe if you are not subscribed yet.